I got caught up in drugs. I was going to jail a lot. We were just a property maintenance company. If it's hourly work, I charge $75 an hour. But everything that's in there right now is probably around the 10 to 12,000.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Steve Miller. I'm the owner and operator of Happy Hippie. We're just a property maintenance company located in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we kind of serve the entire Metroplex. Generally, a lot of HOA work, and then also I do some residential work for homeowners directly.
How long have you been doing this?
December will be the beginning of my 5th year.
What made you to start this business?
So I had a guy that I had helped out on several occasions, and then whenever the first Bitcoin bull market took off, he offered me a chance as to be an angel investor and wanted to open up a company. The only stipulation is that he gets to be a silent investor, but he gets to name the company. And 5 years later, I've got a thriving business. I do zero advertising.
You don't do advertising at all?
None at all. I don't hand out business cards unless people ask. Oh man, it's just that busy.
How do you think people find your business?
Word of mouth. Word of mouth. 100%.
Properties do you manage per day?
Per day, it's really dependent on emails.
Okay.
So I wake up in the morning, I'll see what emails I got. Most things I have to schedule at least 2 weeks out.
Where are you heading to right now?
One of the properties that I'm working on, it's a residential house for a friend of mine. They're trying to get it ready for the market. His wife thought she could tackle the task over there herself, and she just gave up. So
Okay.
we're coming in to kind of like help save the day. He doesn't want to put a lot of money into it, but he does want it to look move-in ready by the time we get in.
How much do you think you make per job?
If it's hourly work, I charge $75 an hour, but I have a 2-hour minimum. And then if I get other jobs that are purely skill-based and not really timing-based, then I'll bid those jobs. And hopefully I bid them accordingly enough to where I get the job, but if something happens, if something unforeseen doesn't happen, that I'm not going to lose money on my time. So it gets tricky. Every year I make a little bit more money. I tweak the business just enough to try to put a little bit more money back the next year.
I'm pretty sure there are some occasions that you charge only 2 hours, but then it exists more than 2 hours. What do you do after that?
You just suck it up and deal with it, and hopefully it doesn't
Okay.
happen again. What I did notice in this town, as long as you're honest with people and you're punctual on time, I give a 30-minute window for when I'd be up on a job. Most people 2 hours, 3-hour window, something like that. So as long as you're punctual, treat people fairly. I'm very transparent. I don't try to nickel and dime anybody with a service charge, and I definitely never ask for tips on my iPad. It's crazy to look at the world and see. I understand capitalism, maximizing profits, blah, 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 blah. But is that maximization of profits worth losing part of your customer base? I don't think so. I don't want to do that. I don't want my new customer base to come in either and look offended because I'm asking them to pay for something that they shouldn't have to pay for.
Is this your first property?
Well, today this is not the first property we're gonna. Well, this is the first property we're gonna go on, and this is the house that I'm working on for my friend of mine.
Friend of yours.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your name?
This is Epic. She's been waiting
Epic?
for her morning treat.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have a lot of stuff in the back.
It is a lot of stuff. Even to do a $150 job, I have to drag $3,000 to $5,000 worth of equipment out, just to be safe and to be able to do my job quick and efficiently.
So that machine costs like $3,000 to $5,000?
But everything that's in there right now is probably around the $10,000 to $12,000
$10,000 to
range.
$12,000? Oh wow.
I mean, just this saw that's underneath this vacuum is $1,300-1,400.
You put that on every morning?
I need to take care of this to hopefully get this job completed today. Is going to be this equipment. Even though I have to pull out this saw, I probably only have to cut one piece of baseboard to put it in. So it is a huge pain in the ass to drag it out, but it's the only way to
All
get
by
it
yourself every day.
And that's not even the bad part.
Do you need help?
Nah,
Just like that.
all this stuff is for just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case. That's a disaster. So like I said, we got some trim to replace. We got a couple of transition strips that need to be installed on their vinyl flooring. Let's see if we can do this, making a disaster.
So would you say like this is all you need to do your job? Like this two
No,
boxes?
I got a whole garage full of equipment
Okay.
for other jobs. Yeah, this is basically what I have to haul around for general work inside people's houses. Oh, there's my painter.
Oh, there's your painter.
Yeah, he is considered an independent contractor,
Good
so
stuff.
I'll bring him on a job. He will dictate to me how much money he wants to make, and then I say yay or nay. And then I usually say yay. If I can pay him more than he's asking on a job, I absolutely will.
How did you get to meet him?
I met him through another friend of mine. He lived across the street from him.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Bass?
Hey sir, how you doing?
Doing well.
This is John.
Please don't call me sir. It makes me feel old.
Oh, okay.
I'm already feeling what it is every day.
Do you mind being on YouTube?
Not at all, man.
Oh,
This is
okay.
fun.
Perfect.
You want these peppers?
Yeah.
The old
Oh yeah.
cook them up, soup.
The
What is
jalapenos?
that? Jalapenos?
They're
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, they're really hot.
I
Really
gotta
hot.
pull them seeds out.
No, I'm talking. You'll see.
Yeah.
Yo, you'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yesterday we had, since we pretty much got everything painted and stuff, yesterday we're coming through and having to hand clean and hand paint the baseboards. I'm putting enamel on these handrails, high glossy enamel, things that are gonna make it look nicer and longer. The problem child in this house was this bathroom that we still have to do a lot of work on. You know. And coming through and painting this, need to put a piece of trim right here. That has water damage on it, so all that equipment I brought out today, well, the saw, the biggest piece, the saw, is I have to bring that out to cut this little bitty piece. All that for this. All right, so we need a 3-inch piece of trim to replace that missing piece. Beautiful. This is some older trim on the house. This is the new stuff that's supposed to have the same profile, but there are some small minor inconsistencies. All right, I think I can work with this.
Let's say you're starting a property maintenance today. How much do you think you will need right now to start your own property maintenance?
You're probably out the door, no worries, and be able to walk away from your day job. You'd need at least, I would say, $75,000 to $100,000. That's gonna give you like 2 years. 2 years to get your business off the ground. I know. I mean, we're talking on that amount of money would be an allowance that you could put into. We could talk about that could be your housing allowances inside of that, your vehicle insurance, your business insurance, paying for your licenses. Probably a good chunk of what material is going to be. I spend about $125 to $150 a week in fuel on top of that. So you got 6 months in gas plus the car payment. I have to look at my overhead. For every $100 I make, I might only get to put 25, 30 bucks in my pocket. Everything else goes out to pay for everything else.
So your profit margin is only about 30% per job after all the expenses?
Yeah, about 30%.
30%?
I would say, yeah. And that's because I'm property maintenance. In the state of Nevada, they have regulations. Like, I'm captain doing $1,000 worth of business a day, essentially. No job over $1,000. But that's a niche market that I like into. I like being able to go to a job and finish it that day. That's what I want. I get the satisfaction of being done with that job, and I can move on to the next thing. This floor and this floor are 2 different heights. It kept failing, so we're gonna go through and make this more acceptable.
How do you overcome your burnouts or anything? I'm pretty sure like managing this business, getting the contracts, or it's not easy after all.
Burnout, suck it up and deal with it.
Just suck it up.
Suck it up.
Just grinding.
Everything gets better with time. Having a very meticulous schedule built up. You go to somebody's house or you go to a property to take care of said task, and then they want to throw a bunch of extra stuff on top of it. And I get why you're there, and sometimes I leave an open window just in case, but sometimes it's just one thing after another, and I'm there 3-4 days longer than I expected to be, you know. But as for everything in life, it's a constant learning curve. It's never easy. I do get caught up in multiple day jobs or projects that get a little bit bigger. Day work is the best. I know I can go out there and make more money if I was set up to do bigger jobs. But bigger jobs come with more liability, more money my company has to put out on materials, and then expectations. What happens if they don't like that expectations? And what happens if that customer never had any plans of even paying their bill? Because I know a couple other guys in town have business in specialty trades, and swap stories. But some of these guys have clients that owe them $25,000, $30,000 that they'll never see. And like, what do? Like, you can take them to court, you can put a lien on their house, but at the end of the day, you can't force their hand. Cool, so we're done with this.
What seems to be the biggest challenge as property maintenance?
The biggest challenge is reliable help. If I could have reliable, consistent help, that'd make my job 100 times easier. But, a lot of people don't. I can't promise somebody 40 hours a week, but I can offer somebody work, period. As for Steve, the painter over here, he can work the schedule that I have available because he's got that freedom in life. Most guys don't have that. We do have a friend that comes in, well, he used to come and work for us. We quit throwing him work, but he would come to work and be like, hey, I'm going to lunch, and then I wouldn't see him for 2 weeks. That's everything, yeah. I guess it's a little bit different in there. We'll do a once over, make sure we're not forgetting anything.
So you made about $150 just today, or from this work?
Well, no, this, like I said, this is for a friend, so it's a little bit, the pricing is a little bit different. But generally, yeah, if we were to go somewhere, let's see, we got here about 9:15, we'll call it 9:30. So about 175 bucks is probably what I would hit somebody with. Another big hurdle to the job, to doing property maintenance, is you do a net 30 waiting for people to pay. So you usually on average end up waiting about 45 to 60 days to get paid. In that amount of time, these invoices stack on each other. So it's not uncommon for, at any given time, $10,000 to $12,000 is owed to me. Sometimes I get stressful whenever you're waiting for it, especially when you get up to the $15,000 to $20,000 range that's owed to you. You'll get it, but there's a point in time where I got to start putting stuff on credit cards and things like that, and carrying over credit card debt to make it until I get paid out. Luckily, I was given that first 3 years, and like we were talking about how much money it would take to have the company come in, a startup, and not really have to worry about anything. That's a big one too, is waiting to get paid. I left my truck on the whole time. You might wanna, you have to turn that off.
Gotta jump it?
Yeah, we gotta get jump.
They say you're not supposed to start it either. I only learned this prep.
Why Nevada and why Las Vegas?
I was just from what I've experienced. When I was growing up in Texas, and where I lived at was a small, predominantly white population. And even as a child, like seeing family members and their friends and talk racism, and it just felt bad that you're disproportionately looking down on somebody just because the color of their skin. It didn't seem right to me, it didn't fit. So when I was old enough to get out of there, I got out of there. If you really want to go into it, what brought me into Las Vegas is some of that time during when I was living in Texas. I didn't really have a drive. Good jobs were hard to find. I got caught up in drugs. I was going to jail a lot. I bailed out of jail one day. I was like, I can't do this. My sister was out here. She was all like, oh, you should come out here. So I came out here. I got a feel for the world. She let me stay with her for a few months so I could get on my feet. And then from there on out, I've never been in trouble in this town. I can't really explain it. It's crazy going to, and yes, I've gone through my toxic lifestyles here, but being raised up in a toxic lifestyle and then coming out here and transitioning to something different was a blessing in disguise. I've been here since 2003, so 20 years here. Never been in trouble with the law, never been to jail, nothing squeaky clean. Back in Texas, I couldn't walk out my front door without going to jail. And a lot of it is because I was guilty by association. People would see you hanging out with one person, automatically just assume that you were just as bad as them. 300, not the cheap, but not the worst. All right, cool. Yeah, that was 30 bucks. Anything else?
What do you have to buy from Home Depot?
Caulking and interior semi-gloss paint so we can finish up that job that we're on this morning. Put my throw in.
How much did you spend in total?
This time we got here $33.77.
Is that about the normal cost?
So due to supply chain issues from the pandemic, prices for materials did increase. Some things I was paying 400% or 500% more than what I was pre-pandemic. Prices are starting to level off and plateau and even get a little bit cheaper now. So for it to be what I expect it to be, it's cheaper than it was 3 months ago, and that's really all I care about.
Where do you get all the energy from? Like you skip lunch and working 6 hours? straight without a break.
I ate a pile of multivitamins in the morning and I sip on pre-workout all day. So basically caffeine.
That's all you need until the dinner?
Well, I mean, sometimes I'll break and grab something to lunch. I'm hungry constantly, and it does start to, later in the day, it does start to affect my performance. It's just, I guess, get into a mode, and for some reason, I can't stop.
I guess that's it for today.
Last two questions, I guess. So if you were to start a business today, how would you find your first customer?
Man, that's a hard question. Actually, how would you find your first customer? I guess the same way everybody does, organically. Through just people that tell them that you're interested in something and put it out there. I think that would probably be the easiest thing.
Like flyers, banners?
I would say more put yourself out personally to people than flyers and banners. I understand flyers and banners, but then you're investing money that you probably aren't even thinking about using for advertising when you first start a business. Or at least for me, that was the least of my worries, was the advertising. The most of my worries was, I don't know, just the self-confidence to go out there and do things. And then once that sets in, everything else kind of follows.
Is there any advice if somebody wants to start a property maintenance today? Is there any advice for them?
Don't do it.
Don't do it?
Don't do
Why
it.
is that?
There's a lot of facets, and you have to just, I don't know, we have to restart the answer to that question. I don't advise anybody to
Maybe
do
to
it.
yourself like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, do it earlier. The earlier you start the road to being your boss, the quicker you get things sorted out. I jumped in the game a little late in life, in my late 30s. So I think if I would have started in my early 30s, I could be twice as far along. Yeah, as you get older, your drive kind of dulls down.
Do you ever regret taking this job or this business?
No, I do not regret starting this job. I don't regret starting my business. I just wish I would have made better choices earlier in life. But if this is what you want to do and you like to fix stuff and you're good at that, then it's definitely, there's money in it. It's just, I think I just got wore out working for too many other people before I started doing it. But like I said, it goes in waves. There's a lot of seasonal, I guess, ups and downs. I'm getting burned out. So yeah, we can get burned out pretty quick. So I want to work 4 days a week. I end up working 5. I always end up taking on jobs that I don't want to take on jobs, but I do if I want to keep getting the same jobs from those same people. It's always an uphill battle. Nothing's easy about it. But at the end of the day, I know that I don't have to rely on selling a product. I can sell myself better than I can sell a product.
Thank you for the interview today.
You're welcome.